Hey everybody,
So I can look at it later.
yeah, you can look at it later, and we're on live.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
All right, we're on.
hey folks, we are, and it's my pleasure for the first time to have my longtime friend now of 11 years, famed Hollywood public relations executive and Beverly Hills public relations executive Edward Lozzi on my show to talk about the famous Roger Neal Oscar party, Courtney Stodden, Nancy O'Dell, Terry Moore, and Pointer Sisters. And Ed, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Why did it take 11 years?
Well, part of it's tech. This form of
I
YouTube
was
tech.
waiting for your audience to grow.
Oh, that's right. Hey, it's done that actually, and this is we're multi.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to you, by the way, and thanks to your allowing me years ago to cover the night.
Yeah, well, that's how we met. It was during Oscar Mania, which is still going on 11 years later.
Hey, how is yeah. This is your platform. How was things? How is it?
Well, you were exposed to our first run, which was the famed Night of 100 Stars Oscar party at the Beverly Hills Hotel, which was 27 years, and which our client was a famous music agent named Norby Walters, who handled people like Dionne Warwick and Boyz II Men and a lot of major acts, a lot of platinum records, and he had a huge following of celebrities, a lot of them which I helped him get, and others. And then he decided to retire it 3 years ago, and after 27 years, and it was a great run. Roger Neal and I go way back. We go back into the early 80s. And we both have our own companies, but we do work on projects together over the years. And he brought me right in as soon as he learned that the Night of the 100 Stars had ended. And he knew about our vast media contacts, our vast, as you know, you were part of it. The red carpet was vast, and hundreds of media outlets. He's building his. This is the 5th annual Roger Neal Viewing Dinner Icon Awards and After Party. So what we have is the 3 parts: the actual viewing dinner with Academy members, movie and television stars, all dressed up on a red carpet, doing interviews worldwide. We're one of the 4 ABC News official Oscar party coverage. So when the Oscars end and they go, hey, now we're going to go to Vanity Fair, or now we're going to go to Elton John. Okay, and here we are inside the after party at the Roger Neal Oscar party. And here we go, to Byron Allen's Oscar. So those are the 4. Everything else is amateurish. So the 4 big ones, it's a lot of work, millions of dollars into the economy. We can talk about that later, but the Icon Awards is something that you are not exposed to, because we didn't have that at the Night of the 100 Stars. And we didn't have an after party. It was strictly a viewing party. So when we were over, we went to other parties. So I went to the Vanity Fair party when we were done, if I could still walk because of all the work and running around. It's a massive undertaking to have 600, 700 people sit down for dinner, black tie, with their, with all the press and media screaming at them to look their way or to interview with them. It's a massive undertaking, just like it was Sunday with the 5th annual Roger Neal viewing dinner. And we missed you. We had a spot for you there.
I appreciate that, and I'll be back. We'll be back, big time, actually, bigger than ever.
When Quincy Jones came by, he was looking for you.
That was.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding about him looking for you.
I was looking for him.
Quincy Jones presented the Icon Award to famed 50s blonde bombshell Mamie Van Doren, and she's still hanging in, and she's still doing some work, and she still is all about the sex look. You know, she
Mm-hmm.
hasn't changed, and she's in her 80s. It's amazing.
Wow.
And yeah, you can look at her at MamieVanDuren.com. You can take a look. But we had quite a few stars came out and enjoyed gourmet dinners, and we also have a gift suite. So the stars have a gift suite, have a gift bag that's worth about $20,000 each,
My God.
and including 10,000 of it is a trip, including airfare, everything to Ireland to stay in a castle in Ireland, in a beautiful section of Ireland, and they're one of the vendor sponsors. So this year on our Icon Awards, we had the award to Nancy O'Dell for television. Nancy O'Dell was the anchor for Entertainment Tonight for the last 10 years, and before that she was with Access Hollywood. You know, the beautiful tall blonde.
Absolutely. I interviewed her. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I said, Quincy Jones presented. By the way, it was Garth Brooks who presented as her friend. You know, the country music singer.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks presented to Nancy O'Dell, and a gentleman by the name of Oba Babatunde, Obbabatunde, and he just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So
Yeah,
he's highly respected.
I have a picture of him at Oakland News now with the Pointer Sisters. That is him right there. Adronic.
Yeah, the Pointer Sisters are,
mm-hmm. Yeah. So there he is with the two beautiful women.
And then the other music award was presented to Joel Diamond. That's like the diamond ring.
Yes.
He's a 2-time Grammy winner for music. He produced all the Engelbert Humperdinck. He produced a lot of the iconic stuff from disco era in the 70s and 80s, and Wink Martindale, the famous game show host, presented to him. And then our next award was for the beautiful Lee Merriweather, former Miss America turned actress, who was Catwoman on the original Batman TV series,
mm-hmm.
and also co-hosted the Hollywood Christmas Parade for many, many, many years. And her award was presented by Burt Ward, who was portrayed Robin on the Batman series. So Boy Wonder presented Catwoman with her award.
I have to tell you, I had the pleasure of interviewing Lee Merriweather at Comic-Con in 2013 when she and Martin Cove were in a movie called Silent But Deadly. Just a little FYI there for you.
Yeah, I know it. I know that film. So the next award for motion pictures, we had 2 of them this year. It was Terry Moore, the infamous, famous Terry Moore for motion pictures. And that was presented to her by famed attorney and her good friend Gloria Allred, and who's going after Mr. Weinstein in New York big time with clients that allegedly raped her clients.
And we have a picture of Gloria right here with Barbie Benton. There's the photograph, folks. See that?
Yeah. So, Terry Moore, a lot of baby boomers know her. My first movie I ever saw of her, I was a baby running around, was Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah, right here. I've got her.
And she was the star of that. And then she also got her Oscar nomination for a movie with Burt Lancaster called Come Back, Little Sheba. And she's been in well over 100 motion pictures in her career and TV. She's a producer as well. She's produced at least 10 motion pictures with her late husband, Jerry Rivers, who's no longer with us. And she's still out there, and she just turned 90.
Are you kidding me? Wait, Ed. This lady that I have my camera focused on, standing next to Mighty Joe Young, she's almost 90. She looks beautiful.
She is 90.
She
is
is.
90.
She's
And she
beautiful.
walks on her own, and she was dancing at the after party.
My God, I would never.
Yeah, I was dancing with her, and she kind of wore me out.
Nice.
And that Mamie Van Doren's the same way.
Huh.
They're unstoppable. So I don't know what it is. They're so driven. They don't want to give it up, and I love it. It's great. And but we had a lot of interesting people. That's what makes our parties good. We have a great random sampling.
Yeah, you also had George and Simona Papadopoulos.
George Papadopoulos. Donald
thank
Trump's,
you.
One-time senior foreign policy advisor,
Mm-hmm.
who was fed to the dogs. The FBI decided to destroy him.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't, but they did. He went to prison. He was the first one out of the Trump administration to go in, and he didn't do anything wrong for being questioned. So he didn't want to answer certain questions. So the FBI decided to make life miserable, and so they charged him with a federal offense of lying to them.
It's like 12 days or something?
He got 12 years. I mean, he got 12
days, yeah. Yeah.
12 days,
Mm-hmm.
okay, out of his life to be in a, sort of halfway house thing, but it's always going to be on his record. And I guess he got to be a friend. He's a cool guy, but he's running now for Congress in California, and he's running as the 25th district, which was only up to weeks ago was Katie Hill's province, her territory. Katie Hill, who, as you know, had to resign in disgrace.
Oh yeah, I also interviewed her last year.
After nude pictures with her and female staff members having sex were distributed by her husband online, which breaks all kinds of rules, especially the whole Me Too thing and putting pressure on your own staff and employees and having sex with them. And so it blew up in her face. She had to resign. And she didn't go away quietly, but she's done. So that district is extremely important because that was a Republican stronghold, and she won it for the Democrats.
Wow.
And then, crashed and burned, and now the Republicans won it back. So he's running as a Republican. He has no animosity toward Trump. But Trump hasn't backed him.
Wow.
Not yet, anyway.
Wow.
So,
hey, a quick question.
I'm doing a little work with him because, but that's what we do. We work for Democrats and Republicans.
Yep.
We're hired guns.
Yep.
We are campaign media consultants. And I worked in the George H.W. Bush administration, the first one. And I worked in the press office with Press Secretary Marlon Fitzwater. I was in the press advance office, so I traveled with the president in the White House, 1990, 91, and 92.
Wow.
And then we lost to the Clintons.
Hey, tell me, real quick question. How's Barbie Benton doing? Because I remember her from being in Playboy.
Well, she was not only just in Playboy, she was the face of Playboy.
Yes.
The highest rated, the peak of Playboy magazine was in the late 60s, early 70s. That's when they had 6 million subscribers. It's almost hard to believe. That's more than Time and People and everything now, but that was also before the internet. So, those days when I was in college, she was hanging with Hugh Hefner, even in Chicago, where the Playboy was all based up until 1968. So they had met in Chicago. She was part of, the TV show Playboy After Dark. And I have, that's a package. You can get that DVD. It's extraordinary the amount of talent that he had on that show. Playboy was so powerful.
Yeah, it was.
Right up into the early 80s.
It was big time. And
She looks incredible now. What is she
she
doing
was
now?
so cute. She was just the face of and body of the 60s. And it was just looking at her with both tears in the eyes of guys and men. And I'm one of them. And then, I got to meet her years later when I was out here in the 80s. She looked wonderful. And
She
never,
looks great today.
my only Playboy experience was with another Playboy. She was always, you didn't dare go after her, and so she was Hugh Hefner's girl, and even after their relationship ended, they were still the best of friends, and she was up at all the parties that they had. She was always up there. And she married a gazillionaire, and George, and they lived happily ever after with big houses in Aspen and huge, giant monster mansion in Pasadena. And she's living the life. And
She looks
her and her
great.
husband were there Sunday night. It was good to see them.
How old is she now? Because she looks like she could be past for 30. I mean, she looks great.
Who, Barbie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Barbie, I think she's already hit 70. I'm not sure.
Wow.
She may be
No, this photograph by
she was you had to be 18 to pose, naked. So she was in 1967. So figure it out.
yeah, that's about right. 70 something. Yeah. No, she looks fantastic, and Gloria looks great too. She's speaking.
Gloria Allred
Yeah.
is, she has the same look, the same haircut, she's always on the scene, and she always has a client or the press lover, because she always brings a sign. And this one is this sign was with going after Weinstein, because she represents clients that were allegedly raped by him.
I have three interviews, actually 4 interviews with her. She's never missed your party, Ed.
No, she comes every year. She comes every year. She came every year to the Night of the 100 Stars.
Yep.
And this is her 5th year in a row with us at the Roger Neal party. And well, she goes where the press is. She knows, she knows the ABC cameras are going to be there, and she knows that all of the bloggers and the live streaming. There must be 7 or 8 people going live, like you did, when you're there. And we just have to get you down there. What are you waiting for? A helicopter?
No, just expanding Zinni 62 Media, because I'm spending time with my elderly mom, as my regular viewers know. And
she's terrific. She's terrific. She's still hanging in there. That's good.
Yeah, my mom is 86 going on 66.
Yeah. But I know you used to make a big week out of it. You used to come in early and go to the pre-stuff and the pre-events.
I think.
And then you would do that. Well, you almost made it this year.
I did. Well, they changed the setup. They used to have the Oscar setup credentials, but I can tell you the very year they changed things around. That was 2014, Ed, and that was just after the whole. Remember the whole Charlie Hebdo scandal and everything, and the attacks on the Charlie Hebdo paper that really sent a wave of change through the entertainment industry, and in particular, the Academy Awards stopped the setup credentials. So I had setup credentials from 2010 to 2015, and what that allowed me to do is, for example, if they had a special announcement regarding new envelope designs, they would have a press conference on the red carpet. You go there on a Saturday, and then I would talk to famed Joe Wilson, who is the production manager and has been for a long time for the red carpet, and I would interview him. Well, that formed the foundation of what I did leading up to the Night of 100 Stars Oscar party. But unfortunately, and then of course, we were at, as you remember, we were at the Beverly Hills Hotel then, and but unfortunately, the killing of the setup credentials pretty much stopped that for me. Uh, uh, and I don't know that they do that sort of thing anymore. I have to double check with the academy and find out. They went through a lot of changes. Because remember, they had Leslie Unger as their PR person, and then she resigned in 2011. Um, then they
Yeah.
went to 4 or 5 other PR people. Hey, so getting back to the
Yeah,
party.
things are very strict there now because of the threats.
Yeah.
And, it's even used to be able to get tickets. The
Mm-hmm.
public could work out a way to buy tickets to get in, being high, ticket scalpers and all that's all ended.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very strict about everything.
And I even noticed the gallery was smaller. Hey, I got to ask you about shifting gears to another favorite topic of yours, Courtney Stodden. She looked. There's a picture of her taken by your name is Jenny Parker, but she looks fantastic. Wow, it's like this bombshell photograph. I understand she has a tell-all book coming out. What's the story? What's going on with your
We always
friend?
have beautiful women at our parties, always. And so did Norby at the Night of the 100 Stars, because beautiful women make a party no matter what. And
True,
men want to be around
absolutely.
them, men want to buy tickets to be there.
Yep.
And it's always good to have beautiful women, actors, actresses, women of accomplishment, not just, sprinkling, buying girls to show up. No, we don't do that. And then usually, there's celebrity couples too, and the stars always usually have attractive spouses. So it's always great to have, a single act, she's a media bombshell, Courtney Stodden. People don't understand it. It's like people don't understand the Kardashians.
But wait, Ed,
But,
you're being too kind. Didn't you used to go out with her? That's what publication said.
Well, I still do, but
Yeah.
it's been kind of secretive until now. She's divorced. The divorce is actually she's divorced officially in March. So she married a kooky guy,
Doug
an
Hutchison.
actor, and she became famous because she was only 16. He was 53, and that was
Wow.
8 years ago. And Courtney's 25 or 26 now, and so I've known her and started taking her out a little bit when she was 19. I thought she was 30 because she's so mature looking and so developed. My God, she's like a modern day Marilyn Monroe, Mamie Van Doren, Jay Mansfield, all in one package. And and she loves to flaunt it. She did so big time at the after party. They had I was about to call the fire department to hose her down. Dancing away, man, dancing away. And it was so funny. Terry Moore, who's 90, was dancing out there and as well. So I love it. I love them. It's the biggest night of our industry, of our season.
Hey, since I gotta ask
Golden
you,
Globes is more of a joke. It's funny. It's a tongue-in-cheek thing, But
I gotta ask you about Courtney. There's these headlines about Doug saying she faked her pregnancy. Is that him just being nasty or something?
It's not even worth. It's not worth the dignity of even talking about it.
Gotcha. Not a problem.
Yeah, it's from him. That's from him. So that's going to be addressed. But that's a line that she is saying right now as well, because she's getting asked that, because that's his state. He came out. He's selling the book now. The thing that I wanted to talk about was more about the Oscar season and the Oscar, the actual Oscar broadcast here.
It was horrifying. For the longest in history, 4 hours. It was splintered with political crap. They're shooting themselves in the foot. They were warned. People were warned going in. Okay, that this was going to happen, and yet they still did it. And so during the broadcast, within that 4 hours, 7 million people tuned out.
During the broadcast,
19 million didn't even bother to watch it at all. Down 20% from last year.
I think I know why that is, but go ahead. I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's because of the political crap as well.
But don't you think also
they just stop it. Just talk about the crap. Talk about the motion picture. Talk about what it was like working on it. Talking about the chance that you got. Talking about working with fellow actors.
But
you don't have to get up there and talk about climate change or get up there and talk about politics. It's just it kills it. It's killing it.
But I got to ask you this question though, because demographically, African Americans watch television 3 times more than Asians and twice the level of Latinos. So if you don't have movie product where you have an African American up for a nomination, don't you think that kills the ratings? Because I know of a number of people who are black who didn't watch. I'm just wanting your view on that, because it seems like, I hate to say that we're getting to this point in society where, if you don't have an ethnic representation, you're not going to get a viewership, but it just seems like that's what's happening.
No, the show opens up with Chris Rock. Come on, there's plenty of great black entertainment, black stars on that event.
Okay.
I don't see blacks boycotting that. They want to watch that stuff. Okay, and also it's you've got some good dance numbers and all, but this year, you had a white guy doing crap rap. I call it crap rap. Right?
You're talking about Eminem.
Right? And that tuned out. All the ratings started to go down big time when he was on there. You could even see the audience. They were horrified with it, and it's that's crap. So it just was poorly produced. It's just done. And the other guy that caused the demise of the Oscar ceremony was Jimmy Kimmel. The worst ratings in history on his 2 years. Matter of fact, he had to leave. He had a 3-year contract.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He only did 2 years.
I couldn't figure. I thought the first year he did it okay, but I was really shocked that they had him back for another year. It wasn't that.
Oh, he was crap, man. He goes outside and brings homeless people in through the side door to go up to big stars sitting in the seats. Thinking that's funny.
They didn't know that they weren't.
Then he parachutes candy from the ceiling. It took like almost 5 minutes. And then one of the only great parts of the ceremony every year is the memorial. The memorial to the Academy members who have passed away. And every year they leave out important people.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Every year they wreck a family.
I'm glad you.
To do that, a life actor who's in the Academy with a body of work and whose family grew up around that, and then to be ignored and not put in there at the Oscars is devastating. And I've been worked for numerous families that have retained us, even to my own clients. I do it on my own. When we have somebody that's passed away, we go all out to get it, to make sure they don't forget. Lots of letters, lots of phone calls. There's a secret committee of 20. They won't tell you who it is because they know they don't want to be called. And they decide, within a series of minutes, how many they're going to mention, how many they're going to put up snippets of a famous scene, or they're just going to put a name up with a headshot, because there's all different categories in the Oscars. There's cinematographers, there's makeup, there's special effects people, there's publicists, there's there's actors, and all of those different categories. So they don't include everyone. And it's just devastating. There's no reason for that. So when the excuse they will give you is, oh, we only have so much time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So our retort is, okay, send less homeless people in from outside to harass the stars and stop with the candy coming in from the ceiling.
But I got to ask
Right
you,
there
Ed,
was almost 5 minutes.
right? I got to
Okay?
ask you, don't you think it was insulting to the homeless and to be used like that? I mean, if
No,
I'm
it's just
homeless,
pathetic.
I don't
It's
want
pathetic.
I don't want
And
somebody.
that's why Jimmy Kimmel's gone.
Yeah, I don't want
but
somebody
it's still-
embarrassing my position as a homeless person. If I'm homeless, I don't want them using that as some sort of prop, because that's what he was doing.
Well, their argument is that that they came back and said, we just went out on the street to see whoever was walking by. No, that whole place is shut down. There's no walking by. There's people that were in the, that were chosen and picked and screened to be in the bleacher seats out there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not homeless people. They're well-to-do, and then they have to be out of there as soon as the arrivals start. As soon as the
Right.
Oscars begin,
Right.
everybody's escorted out. You got to be out of there.
Right.
So they actually had smelly-looking homeless people come in there. You got to see that episode. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. It was hopefully that all it takes, and that Ricky Gervais who hosted the Golden Globes, he finally looked at all the A stars and told them to their faces, do you remember this?
I do. I certainly do. Yeah.
He says, take your award, enjoy it, savor the moment, and then get the hell out. Right? Stop with the Palominos in Wyoming and the homeless in Chicago or Trump, or stop it all. Let it be about what it's supposed to be about, the art of motion pictures. So I have to agree with that. And it's painful to watch. So I say,
But isn't that too much to ask, though? I mean, you go back to Ollie McGraw in '72. Remember the speech she made? I mean, it's sort of tradition, right?
Well, the tradition is killing it.
See what you're
The ratings are going down and down instead of up. Okay, now it's like, we have a new generation, and it's killing it.
Do you think that?
So, I mean, how can you go down 20% in 1 year? 19 million viewers gone.
I have an
in
answer.
1 year.
I have an answer. I'll tell you why. You want to know what the reason is? I think smartphones.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying they're the African Americans.
No.
I don't think
I'm not
it's
saying
that.
that's the reason. I'm not saying that's the reason. I'm saying the reason is the primary reason for the precipitous drop has to do with technological change, streaming. So the question should be, and I had the conversation about this with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell 3 years ago. I said, hey, did you count streaming? I said, because he was certainly had the numbers right. And I said, no, you guys aren't counting it right, because you're counting a view of a stream. You're not counting the throughput. In other words, who comes in each time. You multiply that times the total number of minutes, and that's your real stream count. People don't count the stats right.
What streaming are you talking about?
I'm saying for any streaming that should be done for an event like the Academy Awards. And in this case, the commissioner and I were talking about the Super Bowl.
They're not streaming it.
That's the problem. Then that's the
no,
problem.
They don't want to stream it. That's the ABC. They own it. They want to make the money. They're selling huge ads.
And Ed,
it's about the ads
they
too.
can make
and
that.
Guess what?
They can make
the
that
ads,
money
they're
on
in
streams.
trouble now.
Right. They can
There's
make that money on
that
stream.
ABC is going to dump it.
They can make that money on stream. And you know what? This reminds me of something I blogged about ABC 4 years ago, hampering the Academy Awards because it didn't have a good streaming technology. So this ratings problem is a child of their, I'm not going to say that word, but I'm going to say ABC's lack of understanding of how to appropriately use technology to gain viewers.
Yeah.
They're
gonna dump it, I think, now.
Do you know YouTube?
The value of the ads, so advertising firms are going to say, "Hey, ABC, I'm sorry, but
hey, you know what they should do though?
Your ratings are in the dumper, so we want a much better price."
And they should partner with YouTube. YouTube cleared $15 billion in ad revenue last year alone. You hear what I'm saying? $15 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, so ABC's doing it the wrong way. All right, that's the problem. They're doing it the
Well, you
wrong
want
way.
to get there. Why don't you petition them?
You know
go
these
there.
guys.
You're the
Tell
expert on
Bob
all that.
Iger. I met Bob Iger once and interviewed him. You tell Bob Iger to hire Zinni 62 Media. I'll give you a stock.
Hold on a second. Pamela, get Bob Iger on the phone.
Seriously.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, get Uncle Bob on the phone. I call him Uncle Bob.
He'll call back in 5 minutes. Don't worry.
You got it.
But listen, I want to read something to you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay?
sir. Mm-hmm.
And it's a little diatribe, and it's called "Thank God This Year for the Oscar Viewing Parties." The longest and most problematic Oscar broadcast in history. If you were lucky enough to be at one of the big 4 Oscar viewing parties covered by ABC News on the red carpet, you had a better time. I was at one of them, the Roger Neal Oscar viewing and after party at the Hollywood Museum. Those at the Dolby Theater, however, and at home had a rough time of it. The show has progressively deteriorated as an entertainment vehicle, as reflected in last night's record low ratings. To boot, they're running out of award-worthy films, plus the few quality films like 1917 were passed over to give the Best Picture award to Parasite, a piece of gratuitously violent garbage where even the subtitles were sophomorically stilted. Unfortunately, the Academy has obviously decided to placate filmdom's now bigger, infantile, CGI, video game, rap music, violence-orientated, and larger Asian audiences. Gone are the beautiful babes, epic films, memorable music, comedic hosts, glamour, and drama. What happened to the Academy Awards? Thank goodness for television. So that's my rant about this year's Oscars. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Hey, we had some great people that showed up on the red carpet, and let me just give you a few names if that's all right.
Oh, this is your platform, please. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we had Nancy O'Dell from Entertainment Tonight, of course, Tom Sizemore, Eric Roberts, Mamie Van Doren.
Eric Roberts, I
Joe
love him.
Cortese.
Sizemore, Saving Private Ryan, right?
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
And a million other pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And Heidi Fleiss's boyfriend. Anyway, Joe Cortese.
That's right.
From the Green Book.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine Narducci, who co-starred in The Irishman. I mentioned Garth Brooks already, Quincy Jones. And then we had a lot of working star actors that are just in the trenches all the time, like Petrie Bird from Judge Judy and Pat Negri from Good Witch and Gloria Garulla from How to Get Away with Murder and Stacia Gates from Influencer, John Savage from The Deer Hunter, Oscar nominated, by the way. We had Rex Smith, the Broadway star. We had Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk.
Yeah.
We had Lydia Cornell, who became famous in Too Close for Comfort. My gosh, we had Courtney Stodden, and we had let's see who else we had. We had Tanya Roberts, who starred in Charlie's Angels and Sheena.
Yes.
We had Donovan Carter from HBO's Ballers. We had John Ratzenberger from Cheers and Toy Story.
Who I interviewed at your party. I interviewed at the night.
And even Crazy Tommy Wiseau, who from the movie The Room. Crazy Tommy Wiseau was stopped by. Richard Grieco from 21 Drum Street and the Gargoyles movie, and I'm just George Lazenby, the James Bond, who only did one picture, and it was called In Her Majesty's Secret Service. He looks fantastic for his age.
Yeah, he's 79 or something, like 69.
Still in the tux. He looks like he jumped right out of a Bond movie.
Yeah,
know?
he does.
And
I follow him on Instagram. He's something else. He's something else.
yeah, yeah. Then we had Sam Humphrey from the Joker.
Huh.
And Jerry Mathers from Leave It to Beaver, the Beaver himself. And Eric Ramos, who's in Frozen 2 and Sister. That's the animated. That's his voices. And we even had a porno star, Jasmine St. Clair, who came with Crazy Gary Garver, who was a reporter for the Howard Stern show for years until Howard fired him for being too crazy. Yeah, and then of course Oba Babatunde and Frank Di Francia, also from the Green Book. That was last year's Best Picture, remember?
Yeah.
And we had another playmate there, Nancy O'Brien. We had Jerry Jewell from Facts of Life. We had Stanley Livingston from one of the My Three Sons television show. Remember that? Remember that series?
Used to watch it all the time.
60s and
Sure
70s.
do. Yep.
My Three Sons.
Yep.
And Stanley Livingston. He was the goofy one with the big Coke bottle glasses, the kid. And then Wink Martindale, Lorenzo Lamas from Falcon Crest and Renegade. Dee Wallace, who played the mother in E.T. And oh my God, it was just looking at some more that were there.
Hey, by the way, also you had
Kiki Shepard was there.
Yep.
Matter of fact, Kiki Shepard was co-host of Showtime at the Apollo. You remember, she was fantastic, and she presented. Let me see, who did she present to? Oh my God.
Kiki. Actually, I have that here. I can look that up for you.
Yeah.
Kiki presented. You have Terry Moore, Obaba Babatunde for television, Emmy Award winner Andy Madeline for music, and Donnell Dadigan for the women's philanthropy. And you had Kiki. I just saw her name here. That's why I'm. It just flew right by my face.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
And we had Kirk Boville, who starred as Henry Kissinger in the Oscar-nominated movie Vice. Yeah, and
here it is.
Frida Payne, one of the great singing legends, Frida Payne.
Oh, I've got the whole list here. Pat Negri, Gloria Gara, How to Get Away with Murder, Stasia Gates of Influencer, John Savage, Oscar nom, Deer Hunter, Frank Chappelle, right? Rex Smith. You mentioned Lou, Corey Oliver, Lydia Cornelli, for Too Close to Cover, Bridget Nielsen, excuse me, Red Sonja. Oh my God. Mentioned Wink, Lorenzo Lamas, I believe, Kira Reed Lorch, Dee Walsh. You mentioned Lainey Kazan. My favorite year. We talked about George.
Also Renee Taylor, who starred in The Nanny with Fan Dresser. She's one of our clients. She's amazing. She's back on tour now with her play called My Life on a Diet, which is hilarious comedy. It was a big hit in New York off Broadway.
And Adoree Jackson is with the Tennessee Titans. Adoree Jackson's with the Tennessee Titans. Of the National Football League, and then Kevin Seymour.
We had Vince Lozano from Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie.
Wow.
We had Dan Lauria from Wonder Years.
I remember Dan.
Anyway, we could go on. We could spend a long time on this. It was like well over 70 or 80 stars there.
Hey, whatever happened to Ken Davidian? I haven't seen Ken in a while. And is he okay?
He's still out there. He lost. I think he lost his wife.
Oh no!
Disaster. Yeah.
Oh no.
So
hey, folks, Ken Davidian.
He wasn't there. He wasn't there this year. I don't think he was invited this year. We don't invite the same people every year.
Hey, Ken Davidian was.
We do have some that are regulars, but we like to mix it up.
Just FYI, Ken Davidian. I have 2 interviews from the Night of Running Stars Oscar party on Zinni 60 on YouTube. He was in The Artist. For those of you wondering,
Well,
hey,
Ken,
you know,
so for your listeners, Ken Davidian was the big fat ugly guy in Borat.
yeah,
You know,
right.
he became famous from the movie Borat for, sitting on the guy's face. Remember they were having a nude wrestling act, and he
I was trying to forget that one, Ed.
almost killed him. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was never the same after that. I had to go to therapy after I saw that.
Oh my Lord! I think that visual's gonna have to.
He's so unsightly. He is so gross looking. You know, even when he's all dressed up, it's amazing. But that's part of his aura. You know.
Oh, he's a card. Ken, we love you, Ken. When you see this, we love you, man. Oh, hey, let me ask you, how has Hollywood changed from your perspective? Because look, you dated Anna Nicole Smith, if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah, but that wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. But I mean, how has Hollywood changed over the time that you've been rocking and rolling as a PR honcho?
Well, I mean, the internet has changed everything. You know, when I first started working, I worked with a big firm called Rogers and Cowan.
Oh yeah.
And that was like 1979, 1980. And then I left there and worked with a couple of smaller boutique outfits, learned the business, and then stole clients and started my own. So around 1981, I was, Edward Lozzi and Associates was here. So that's a long time ago. I don't even mention the number of years because of ageism in this town, but
wow.
I just did. But anyway, so everything, okay, can you imagine having a business, okay, and dealing with information and having to get information from point A to point B as fast as you can, but you only had the U.S. mail service and messengers, real messengers, delivery. That's it. You're going, what?
Mm-hmm.
Some of your viewers are like, what? Yeah, there was no fax machines. There was no computers at all. There was no email or message. It was U.S. mail and messengers on bicycles or cars.
Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, and that was it.
So you had to get, and the telephone, which was king. The telephone, it's a whole different thing. You had real humans answering the phone. You had receptionists. Okay, all the newspapers and all the media outlets had receptionists, and all you had to do was ask for the name. And boy, they would connect you right to that person. So easy, so fast. Not now. Hello, you have reached the main desk office. If you'd like a company directory, press 2. If you'd like to leave a message for, press 3. If you wanted to, come on, And that was before, you had people cell phone numbers.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were dealing in 1980. You were dealing with a tape recording answering service. You had answering service and you had beepers on you. So everywhere you went, you heard beepers going off, and then you had to go find a phone, a house phone, because people didn't have cell phones. And then when the faxing came in, it was like, oh my God, the whole world has changed. Thousands of trees were cut down for all the paper that went to the faxes, right? And you've got everybody had the fax machines and different types of fax machines and high def fax machines, color. Oh my God, color. It was like fantastic all over. By the end of the 90s, it was all done. Start of there was no more faxing. The only people that have faxes anymore are law firms, and we represent 26 law firms. We do a lot of legal publicity at Edward Lozzi and Associates, and we have to go through documents a lot. But now they can all be emailed in a file, except that you're exposing, if it's something secretive, whatever you email is not secretive.
That's right.
Faxing is a different deal. Faxing
true words have never been spoken. Listen to Ed, folks. True words have never been spoken.
Yeah. So, so you asked the question about how it's changed. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing technologically. So you
small boutique. Okay, we have an office in Beverly Hills, right downtown in the Bank of America building. But there are people in my even lawyers, accountants, publicists, professionals that work out of their house. Some of them work off their kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got logos, they've got websites, they've got blogs, they've got Facebook pages, they're Twittering, they have graphic designs. They can look like the big boys.
Yep, that's very easy to do that today.
And everybody's secretive about their addresses.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a business card today,
I've noticed that. Why is that?
What do you have on there, right? So you don't know where they are. It makes everybody secretive,
right?
Because they don't want to be visited in the middle of the night. So it's everything is being protected, but there's a difference between hiding and protecting.
Right. Right.
So, and a lot of people find out the hard way when they hire somebody that's advertising themselves as a press agent or publicist, and what they really are only is someone who'll get you on a red carpet or into a party. That's not publicity. Publicity is getting editorial, getting a talk show booking, getting an article in Variety or Hollywood Reporter, getting on a pod, getting on a show like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
That's what publicity is.
I'm glad you said that, because that describes what you do, and also what my longtime friend and also colleague Sam Singer does. Up north. I mean, you guys are the best at it. So I'm glad you said that, because that's.
So our media contacts are important. It's who you know, and any business too. But media contact is tough because the media is constantly hiring and firing and transforming. Who, not in a million years, they ever think that the Los Angeles Times would go from a giant 10-floor, massive Art Deco building that's almost 80 years old. I walked in there, the place was humming, and there was thousands of employees coming and going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that they're gone, it's just a big empty building. And they're in a office building in somewhere in Torrance, I think now, the Los Angeles Times.
Hey, did you hear about what happened with McClatchy today? McClatchy.
I heard something, but I'm not quite sure what the.
I'll tell you. They filed for bankruptcy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bankruptcy protection.
That's not surprising.
That includes the Kansas City Star.
McClatchy does a lot of government. So when I'm working on a campaign, like I am now, I'm working on a congressional campaign as a media consultant. So when I'm working on legal news and I'm working at government news, it's McClatchy. They're more about Congress and assemblymen and bills, being introduced. And that's their forte. Washington news. So that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. AP still hanging in there. UPI is really nothing like it was in itself, but they're still there.
No,
International.
Right.
They're just more like a front.
A note to what you're saying: McClatchy operates 30 newsrooms in 14 states, including the Miami Herald, the Charlotte Observer, and the Kansas City Star. Yeah, and they said that they were shedding the cost of the print legacy, and that was the lead reason for their action, and they're going to speed the shift to digital, which, when I read that, there's, more layoffs are coming. So, and it says
they'll be down. My grandfather Raymond Rhodes, Rhodes. I'm half English and half Italian. My grandfather was a newspaper man. He started young, and he started in the newspaper business by distributing newspapers in the tri-state there, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And at one time, New York City had 26 daily newspapers.
Whew. Wow.
26 daily newspapers. Now they have 3, I think.
Wow.
But, it's still, that's a lot, even now, for one city. Some cities don't have any now. They're gone. And a lot of the weeklies, which really is the nuts and bolts of America
Mm-hmm.
are going out.
And not only that, hey,
So
McClatchy, get this, Ed. McClatchy, if the bankruptcy court accepts the plan, will be owned by hedge fund organization Chatham Asset Management LLC. And every time a hedge fund has bought a newspaper, it has spelled massive layoffs. So stay tuned.
yeah, they got it. That's
Yeah.
what they do. They just got it. It's like it's like the movie Wall Street with Michael Douglas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Michael,
Greed is good.
greed is good. Speaking of Michael Douglas, your thoughts on the passing of Kirk Douglas?
Yeah. Wow, what an icon. It's too bad he had to spend the last 15 years since the stroke.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad that, but he still functioned.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you a story about Kirk Douglas. You'll probably, this is something that happened to me, a good story. Now I say happened to me, it sounds like it's negative, but it was a good happening. One of my rituals before covering the Night of 100 Stars Oscar party was to go to the Beverly Hills Hotel and the Polo Lounge and have brunch. And so I did that the first time that was 2010. And so I'm sitting there, and me being me, there's this Byron Allen was on the other side. I had introduced myself to him. He was with his wife in the corner, one side. This is in that there's the Beverly Hills Hotel, the Polo Lounge is basically 3 different rooms, folks. You can sit outside. Then there's this main dining room. There's another side little nook, I call it. Actually, it's 4. And there's a central area by the bar. Anyway, I'm at the main dining room area, and this woman walks by. I just thought she was tall, gorgeous, almost Charlize Theron-like, and this even taller man was walking by, very elegantly dressed. It was Oscar Sunday, and they went to sit in the corner. And I'm thinking, the man in the corner, I can't quite make out that profile, but it looks like I wasn't sure who it was. And then they were joined by yet another man. And I thought, who is that dude? And I thought he looks familiar.
Sean Penn.
I'll tell you who it was.
Sean Penn.
It was George Hamilton and his wife.
Oh, George.
Yeah.
Yeah, George Hamilton.
With Kirk Douglas.
I thought Sean Penn was dating Charlize Theron.
Right. With Kirk Douglas.
Sean Penn.
And then the other guy was the fellow who used to host the BAFTAs every year. Whose name just flew right out of my head. That's awful. But we followed each other on Twitter for I don't know how long. But see, he followed me on Twitter. He had 300 million views, and he basically was the BAFTA host for the last something like 7, not the last 7 years, but for 7. He had a 6-year stretch as the host of the British version.
But who is he? Who are you talking about?
That's what I'm trying to remember his name. So I.
What did he look like?
He's
Was he British?
Oh, definitely British. Long time BAFTA.
Michael Caine?
No. BAFTA host, long running. I'm typing it.
It's an actor. It's an actor.
He's an actor. Yeah. He's a guy who's been on. Oh my Lord. He's an actor, and I should let me.
Christopher Plummer?
No, not Christopher Plummer. When I get it, it's quite BAFTA host list. How's that? I'll type. See if I see his name, I'll blurt out with it. Stephen Fry.
Well, you're saying that when they were all there at the same time.
Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Fry. Now
they still go there. The Stars still, although there's a boycott of any entertainment events
sad.
at the Beverly Hills Hotel and the Bel Air Hotel. There's still many people that go there alone. Stars. They still do this. It's the best.
I want to share this with you. I want to share Stephen Fry. And so I realized, wait a minute, we follow each other on Twitter. So I got back to my laptop and I said, hey, was that you in the corner with Kirk Douglas, George Hamilton, and his wife? And he said, yeah, you should have come on over. Why didn't you? I said, I didn't know it was him. I missed my chance to meet Kirk Douglas and George Hamilton and have brunch with Stephen Fry and all those folks because I didn't have the whatever you call it, je ne sais quoi, to go over there and say, hey, wait a minute, aren't you Stephen Fry and we follow each other on Twitter? I've never made that mistake again, ever.
I remember I used to date Tina Louise and
Gilligan's
Jeff,
Island. Yeah, yeah.
Who is Ginger of Gilligan's Island.
Right,
She
right.
lives in New York now. She's an Academy member, brilliant actress, and I used to take her for dinner and cocktails at the Polo Lounge when we would come back from another event. We would stop in there for a nightcap, and I remember going in. This was back in the '80s, and I remember sitting in there. Walter Cronkite was at one booth. George Hamilton was at another booth. Rod Stewart was with Alana Stewart at another table, and then James Caan, was there, and he was famous because of the Godfather movie already in the '70s. And even one of the Keystone Cops was still alive. The early Keystone Cops silent comedy movies, and I don't even know if you even know what that is.
Oh yeah, I know Keystone. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's actually a derogatory term with the police departments that are not up to par, and they would say like, "Oh yeah, they were so inept.
Keystone
They were
Cops
like the
routine.
Keystone Cops," because the Keystone Cops would like twirl around and with clubs, and they even had helmets back then. The original New York Police Department had bobby helmets like they do in London, and and they had clubs, and so they would be clubbing everybody, clubbing everything. And this big like whirlwind of smoke, and it was like a cartoon almost, But the Keystone Cops, there was actually, the guy was in the '90s, right? This was back in the '80s, and I remember who else was in there? Jimmy Stewart. Because he lived a block away. Jimmy Stewart and his wife, and I'm like, wow. And then Donna Summer, okay, who was like got the #1 hit, on the radio.
Yeah. MacArthur, yeah.
#1 hit in the nation.
MacArthur Park. I remember that. Yeah.
She works hard for the money.
Yep.
And Love to Love You, Baby. That was all over the place, and she's in there, and it was. And I'm saying, this is the place I need to be coming, right? And I started to go there a lot.
Hey, I got to ask you before we, because out of respect for your time, how much more time do you have, by the way?
Probably about 5 minutes.
Okay. Quick question: How did you get in the business? Because I've never asked you that question.
Well, I'm from New York, and I have family in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. Okay, I'm East Coast metropolitan, and I went to school in Tennessee. I played football at University of Tennessee, and then I married Miss University of Tennessee, and from there I went. I decided to quit football, transferred to New York. So I transferred to the New York University, and while I was in New York, waiting for the trains to go back to my house in the suburbs, all of these bars and places, all up in the Wall Street area where I was working and going to school. So I was also working for the Hartford Insurance Company as an underwriter. So I was majoring in business administration and property and casualty insurance and aircraft insurance and all that. That was my major because my family owns insurance companies, right? So this was what I was doing. Then I would see these guys, these sharp guys that were in their like 20s and 30s. And I was like 19, 20. And I would see them in the bars talking and laughing and looking sharp, and, girls flirting with them and all. And I talked to one guy and he told me that he was within the publicity department at Paramount Pictures, which was headquartered in Manhattan at the time, the Gulf Western building. Gulf Western owned Paramount Pictures back then, which was the time of Robert Evans, who was president, and the time of, The Godfather and Love Story, and some of the biggest movies of all time. And these guys were straight, you know, and they were well dressed, and they were in the movie business. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. So that's how I got the bug. So they said, well, come by the office. So I'm in school, right? And I'm also working part-time in a part-school, part-time experience with the Hartford Insurance Company on Wall Street, you know, on Williams and Wall Street. And I would get on the subway and run up in the middle of the day and run up into this guy's office at Paramount. All these gorgeous looking girls were there, and the movie posters were all over the walls. And I was like, wow, you know, this is cool, motion pictures. And this guy was in the publicity department, and, you know, he was been there for a while, and he was getting calls from Hollywood, and he was getting calls from Robert Evans and A.C. Lyles and some of the top people at Paramount. And I remember being in the office with him, and he says, listen, he goes, I got a meeting. He goes, you don't have to go. If you want to stay, I'll be back in about an hour. But, you know, if the phone rings, answer it and take a message. Yeah. Okay. So the phone starts ringing, and it's like, hey, this is Evans. Let me talk to him. Right. I'm going, oh, Mr. Evans, yeah, he's stepped out from it. He's down the hall. I can take a message for him. He goes, all right, I know where he is. Okay. So it was Robert Evans I had just talked to. Okay. So the president of and I'm saying, okay. So I started taking notes. And then I was starting to come by 2-3 days a week. And then we'd go out for lunch, and, you know, and he had introduced me to some girls. And it was kind of a cool lifestyle. And but that was what caught. So I'm there a lot. And then one time he said, listen, I have to go. I'm going to be gone all afternoon. Can you hold the fort in my office? So this is one of those scenes like right out of that movie, The Apartment, where they had like 100 people on typewriters on the whole floor, right? And then these corner glass offices, right, where the executives are. And I'm in one of these offices in a suit and tie because I was going to college and going very conservative industry, the insurance industry. So I was there. So most of the people on the floor and the lower thought I was an employee of Paramount, like they were. And so he started giving me more responsibilities. Bring this down there, go get the coffee, bring this file over to him. You don't mind, Ed? I'm going, no, I don't mind at all. He goes, so who called me while I've been gone for an hour and a half? Well, you know, Sally called, Alice called, Jackie called. Okay. Oh, and Robert Evans called. Why didn't you tell me that first? Right? I'm going, no. So one day I'm there, and he's gone again. And I see the elevator open up all the way at the far end, and I see 2 security officers walking the whole floor and coming towards me in the office. I'm saying, I hope they're not coming towards me. And they're coming, right? And then I see a police officer come in behind them. And that New York PD, right? NYPD, a police officer. And they're walking, and I'm going, they can't be walking towards me. They're walking towards me. And sure enough, they came right up to the office. They came in, knocked on the door. I said, come on in. Right? And he goes, where's Jack? And I'm going, well, he's you know, he'll be right back. So they close the door and they sit down and they say, who are you? I'm going, well, I'm Edward Lozzi. He goes, do you have any ID? Right? I'm going, yeah. So I showed him the ID. He goes, what are you doing here? And I'm saying, I'm the friend of, Jack here. And he goes, yeah, but you're working here. You're not on the payroll. We checked, we know who you are. And I'm going, oh, geez. He goes, come with us. So, and the guy's gone, and there's no cell phones, to call him to say, oh my God, there's security and police in your office. Don't come back or anything, and so they take me to the upstairs to the executive, and I go in there, and there's, they're going, well, who are you? What is that? And so I had to explain everything. And I'm just a friend.
Wow.
I'm not, He goes, well, people think you work here. You're doing services here. You're doing stuff. Are you a spy? Do you work for MGM?
Oh my God.
Yeah, they go, get out.
Jeez.
Right? So they escorted me out to the street, right?
Oh no.
So, but that was enough. That I had already caught the bug, and that was, and I was taking public relations courses, and I don't know. It turned out when the opportunity came, I went through a divorce, and when I came out here, I got a job with Dow Jones, Irwin Publishing, who publishes college textbooks in marketing, public relations, and legal, and all kinds of business administration books. And and I had my degree in my BBA, and so I learned just by reading, and then working, getting an entry-level job, mailroom. And anyway, the rest is history. So with all of that, I've been well over 25 years. Our company's been here. It's a well-known brand.
Yeah.
And got an exciting, if I die tomorrow, I was like, wow, it's a fantastic, famous.
Don't die, Ed. Stick around.
Accomplished people, women, men, women, and services, and accomplished businesses, and I'm so happy that we're still doing it.
And what I think is cool about knowing you and is how you've represented and had your fingertips on American culture and the people that drive American culture, which essentially means that you're part of the drive engine of entertainment culture, which I think is a cool thing,
Yeah, well, thank you. I agree. I agree with you on that. I like what I do. It's almost not work. I enjoy what I do. There's pressures on it, and there's ageism, of course. There's the young pups coming up from behind who are, and I've had to learn all about social media and
which is why you're on this show.
Constantly re-educating. What's that?
I said, which is why you're on this show.
Yeah, it's I'm way behind where I should be. I'm nowhere near like you are, but the business gets in the way, and you have to actually take the time. You've got to take away your personal time and get back in. So I've gone to courses. I actually teach at UCLA and at Loyola Marymount. Less there now because of the Catholic clergy sex crisis. I don't like to be around them. That's the bad thing. So, but at UCLA, I'm a guest lecturer in entertainment public relations.
Hey, how do people get a hold of you if they want to hire you?
Well, we have a website. It's LozzipR.com. That's LOZZIPR.com. And, the information is on there, phone number and email, it's all on there. And, we do, you have to look at that to see, but we deal with professionals. And, one thing, just for your viewers, okay, just because you may have some money to hire a public relations company, because that's what you do, you pay a retainer. You don't take percentages like agents and managers. So you're paying out every month. It's usually on a monthly retainer. It's not the answer if you're just an actor and you want to create. You can't buy. You can't buy publicity unless there's something to promote. So let's say you're an actor or you're a failed doctor, and you want to start in show business or entertainment. You want to be well known. just hiring a PR firm isn't going to do it. You're wasting your money. But if you, on your own, get a shot to get into a major motion picture or a television series, okay, that is promotable. That's when you like say, okay, let me take the money I'm going to get for this and invest it right back into a PR campaign. Somebody that can get the word out on how I got here, what I'm doing, where's this going, what did I have to do to get to this point, to get my story out. That's when you call a publicity firm.
And
just something that people, because we get a lot of calls about. So,
hey,
and I say, good, good, nice to meet you. Thanks for calling us. I'm glad you were referred. So tell us what's happening that we can get the word out. And they go, well, nothing yet, and, that's why I'm here talking to you. I said, well, I'm not an agent and a manager. I'm not pursuing employment for you. Okay, I'm promoting what you're doing. Okay, and getting the word out so that more people will see you and want you.
So the key is the person has to do something. You got to do something to report that it was done, right?
Yeah. So that's the kind of clients we're looking for. We're also not looking for actors and actresses that want to get on red carpets or be at parties. That's not public relations.
There's a lot of that.
That's a red carpet booking agent,
I got work that way. I think
we do that for our client. That's part of it, automatically, because when you have well-known clients, they're calling and asking you if you'd like to come to our party. Hey, you represent Lou Ferrigno? Yes, I do. We'd love for him to be at the XYZ party that's coming up in 2 weeks, and we have a gift bag for him and great table, and we'll be introduced. And let me run it by him. Sounds great. Send me a memo. And then, if the client likes it, then we have to be there for him when he walks the red carpet, and make sure that he talks to the right people that are on the red carpet, and that, it's smooth. It runs smooth. But just we're starting out with somebody, that's not what we do. So anyway, I'm rushed for time, and so are you. And I've enjoyed our chat.
This has been great. Hey,
and I hope your listeners have gotten something out of it. We've talked about the Oscars. We've talked about the current status of the Oscars, which is dismal. And we've talked about careers in public relations and
And I gotta say, folks, call this man. You need the best. Call this man. Hey, Ed, stick around. I want to let you go appropriately. Folks, I want to say, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. PJ, thanks for coming. Later tonight, we'll talk NFL. Subscribe to Zenny62 if you have not done so, and share this monumental talk with one of the best in the business worldwide. We'll be back. Thanks.